Unveiling Sinister Secrets. Spine-chilling tales from private investigators revealed and exposed. Sarah's heart raced as she fumbled the latch on her front door. Shadows danced across her living room, twisting the familiar into something sinister. The serenity of Maplewood felt like a thin veil, hiding something darkly twisted beneath. She had spent years uncovering truths about others, but now the truth was barreling toward her like an oncoming train, the shriek piercing through the calm. It was a typical evening until Jenna knocked frantic, eyes wide with panic. "Tim's missing." Her voice was a choked whisper. The kids, glued to the couch, looked up, confusion wrinkling their brows. Over the years, Sarah thought she knew everything about her neighbor's family. But as Jenna's story unfolded, strands of their seemingly perfect life began to fray. The rumors of missing persons in Maplewood echoed in Sarah's mind. She hadn't wanted to believe them. She had ridden her bike through these serene streets, assumed the friendly faces knew each other as secrets. But as she walked to the neighbors' houses, innocent smiles abruptly switching to hushed whispers behind closed doors, she felt the weight of something amiss. A chill snaked up her spine. Little did she know that something far worse awaited her. Before we continue, I need to tell you something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to their system, and many people are missing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and select all notifications so you don't miss future videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Each visit pulled her deeper into a tangled web of secrets. Felt like eyes were watching her. Lily began complaining about a shadow that followed her. Dismissing it as childish imagination, Sarah tried to maintain normalcy. Yet when she returned from a late night, she found Lily intently speaking to an empty corner, a slight smile gracing her lips. "My friend likes to play hide and seek," she said innocently. But there was nothing innocent about it. The air thickened, suffocating Sarah with dread. Days passed, and the feeling of being watched escalated. The unease wrapped around her like a suffocating fog. As she gathered more intel about Tim, dark connections tied Maplewood's missing residents together like a chilling familial bond. Their sunny lawns and friendly waves suddenly turned sinister. They were all living on the edge of nightmare. Then one night, as she broke the stillness of their quiet home with the heaviness of yet another late return, she caught sight of a figure at the end of the street, a silhouette draped in shadow, watching. The hairs on her arms rose instinctively. This wasn't just about Tim anymore. With every piece of information, trust in her neighbors shattered like glass. Panic surged through her veins as she realized that safety was an illusion. As she glanced back at her daughter, sleeping innocently on the couch, the fear roared to life. What horror could lay behind the familiar faces she once trusted? As she rushed to secure doors and windows, her heart screamed to protect her child. The figure lingered in the abyss of the street, an ominous reminder that the true terror of Maplewood was only just beginning to reveal itself. Whom could she trust? Would she and Lily survive this chilling discovery? Sarah's pulse quickened as she pressed her back against the cold front door. The stillness of the house became deafening, amplifying her racing thoughts. What if the figure at the end of the street was not just a passerby? What if it was something looking for them? She checked the locks, her fingers trembling as she twisted each knob until she heard the satisfying click. The shadows of the living room shifted with every flicker of the streetlight outside, casting eerie forms against the walls. She couldn't shake the feeling that the eyes watching her from the darkness weren't just figments of her imagination. "Mommy?" Lily's small voice pierced through the silence, pulling Sarah from her spiraling thoughts. The child sat up on the couch, eyes heavy with sleep but wide with confusion. "Is it time for bed?" "Not yet, sweetheart," Sarah replied, her voice strained. "Just stay there." Lily looked at her mother, sensing the tension. "There's a funny man outside." A chill swept through Sarah, her heart hammering against her ribcage. "What do you mean, honey?" "He has a hat," Lily pointed toward the window, "and he's waving." The breath caught in Sarah's throat. She edged closer to the window but hesitated. She didn't want to expose Lily to whatever terror lurked beyond the fragile glass. "Close your eyes, Lil. Just for a second." Lily obeyed, her soft features scrunching up as if she could physically shut out the fear hovering in the air. Sarah dared a glance outside. The figure stood still, hat casting a shadow that obscured its face. It felt like a mockery of calm, like the eye of a storm waiting to unleash its fury. Panic surged within her. She quickly pulled the curtains shut. What was happening in Maplewood? The once friendly streets now dripped with dark secrets and veiled threats. In a matter of days, the safety of her home had transformed into a cage. She sank onto the couch beside Lily, whose breathing came slow and steady. Her daughter was drifting back to sleep, unaware of the monstrosities that could lie in wait. Sarah's mind raced. She needed to gather more information about Tim. The envelope, the one Jenna had handed her when she had first reported Tim missing. When she finally found it, the streets pulsed with shadows, and the sun dipped below the horizon, swallowing whatever light she had. The notes inside were disjointed, scribbles and half-finished thoughts. But one phrase stuck out. "They want us one by one." Her stomach twisted. Who were they? The words screamed with urgency, pulling her deeper into a dark whirlpool of dread. Outside, the figure remained, now shifting closer to her house, an ominous silhouette creeping forward. As her heart raced, she turned to Lily, whose innocence felt like a fortress against the encroaching darkness. But the safety of a child is a fragile thing. Suddenly, the lights in the house flickered. A subtle, mocking chuckle echoed from the darkened street. Goosebumps broke out across Sarah's arms. There was no getting out of this. The game was on. "Stay close, Lily," she whispered urgently. In that moment, a frantic knock came from the back door. Each rap echoed like a gunshot in the subdued night, tearing through the veil of silence. Sarah froze, fear gripping her as she turned toward the sound. Who was it? Was it a friend? Or was it someone who had come to reinforce the nightmare? The door shook with another violent knock, dust falling from the frame. "Let me in. It's Jenna." The voice was frantic, desperate. "Mom." Lily's eyes filled with terror, warmth of safety beginning to melt away. "No matter what you do, don't open that door," Sarah commanded softly but firmly, her heart pounding wildly. The door rattled again. "Sarah, please, you have to trust me." But as dread coiled in her chest, Sarah felt the weight of terrible choices before her. What if Jenna was being hunted, too? From the corner of the room, Lily whispered, "Mommy, is the funny man gone?" And with that, the chilling realization hit. Someone was playing with them, moving the pieces across a board laid out by some unseen hand. She could feel that something was coming, and she had to decide what kind of game she was caught up in. Every moment brought her closer to a revelation. There were no safe spaces left, no one she could trust. And as the knocks on the door grew more insistent, an icy thought crept in. What if Jenna brought the darkness with her? A choice loomed, and every heartbeat threatened to unravel the truth. Would she dare open the door? The room pulsed with tension, shadows silencing every creak of the house. Sarah's mind raced with possibilities, but the knocking at the door shattered her thoughts like glass. Each knock felt like a countdown, a ticking clock moving her toward a decision she wasn't ready to make. Mommy, Lily's soft voice trembled, breaking through Sarah's frantic thoughts. The girl curled into a ball, her little hands gripping the couch. "I'm scared." "It's okay," Sarah whispered, though fear gnawed at her insides. "Just hold tight." She wished her words were true, but the unsettling feeling that hung over them was palpable, clawing at her sanity. The knocks became more frantic, the urgency burning in her gut. "Let me in. They're coming." Jenna's voice pierced the night like a siren. In that moment, Sarah was caught between fear and a desperate need to trust her friend. But what if Jenna was the reason for the chaos? What if she brought danger with her? Just a moment together could mean the end. "Mom, please," Lily cried, backing away as though Jenna's voice was an extension of the danger they could see outside. "Don't let her in." Sarah's heart raced and her thoughts jumbled. She could still picture the figure outside, that mocking wave, shrouded in darkness, lurking for a chance to break through them. She turned to look at the back door, and that S when she saw it. A shadow near the window creeping closer. Closer, what did it want? With dread pouring through her veins, she stepped between the door and Lily. Jenna, what is happening out there? Are you alone? Please, just trust me. Another violent knock interrupted her. This one felt primal, with a guttural sound that sent a chill down Sarah's spine. I can't let you in, she managed between breaths. A harsh scrape against the door sent her heart into overdrive. It was followed by the faint sound of a rustle outside, like the grass being disturbed. Sarah's mind spun. Who was out there? This couldn't be real. Shadows twisted across the floor, and her own fear felt alive, a breathing monster in the confined space. Lily clung to her leg, eyes wide with terror. Mommy! Sarah kept her voice low, her heart pounding like a drum. Whatever happens, just stay here. Okay? The cracks in their world widened as the daggers of doubt sliced through her resolve. Jenna had been hunting for Tim, the mysterious connection tying them all together. But now, with the door busting under the pressure of unseen forces, the puzzle pieces snapped into dark clarity. The knocking ceased. Silence enveloped them, thick and suffocating. Sarah breathed, but it felt wrong, like inhaling the shadows that lingered. Mommy, Lily whispered again. Before Sarah could respond, the window shattered, glass raining into the room like falling stars. Instantly, Sarah turned back toward the darkness outside. She saw it. The figure now stood fully illuminated in the dim light spilling from their shattered home. The hat obscured its features, but a crooked grin crept across its lips, one that felt all too familiar and yet utterly alien. In that moment, terror paralyzed her. Then, without warning, a voice emerged, raspy and chilling. You're playing the game wrong, Sarah. Mommy! Lily yelled, desperate and terrified. Sarah barely registered her daughter's cry as she stood transfixed, fear digging its claws deeper into her spine. A choice surged forth. Defend her child or confront the inexplicable horror that now bared its teeth. With adrenaline pumping, Sarah stepped back, frantically searching for an escape route. As narrow-eyed assessments loomed at her, she thought of the envelope, the words they want us thickening the air with meaning. What did they want? The figure finally moved, slicing through the darkness with unnatural speed. Just as it lunged forward, the words slipped from her lips. What do you want? Another soft laugh echoed in the space, a sinister melody. Just a game, and now you've become a piece. The blood drained from Sarah's face as she realized the stakes. This wasn't just survival. It was a twisted puppet show where innocence was at risk. And then, darkness enveloped them once more, leaving Sarah with a burning question. How far down the rabbit hole was she willing to go to protect Lily? The answer loomed on the periphery, waiting to be unleashed. Would she have the strength to face whatever game was being played? The figure halted, its jagged silhouette standing menacingly against the shattered remains of the window. Time stretched, thick and heavy, as Sarah processed the horrifying reality before her. What do you mean, a game? Her voice was barely a whisper, shaking under the weight of fear. Every move matters. The figure's voice slithered through the room, low and bone-chilling. It stepped forward, and Sarah caught a glimpse of eyes glinting with an unnatural hunger, locked on her, on Lily. You must decide who you are willing to sacrifice. Mommy! Lily screamed again, pulling at Sarah's leg, the pure panic in her voice slicing deeper than any blade. No! Sarah shouted, her heart pounding. Adrenaline surged through her, sparking a fierce protectiveness. She had to think. She looked around the room in a frenzied search for something, anything that could help them. But all she could see were the remnants of their normal life, now tainted with dread, shadows creeping closer as if they too were drawn to the figure's presence. The figure pressed on, voice drumming like thunder in her ears. So many pieces, but only one can win. It reached out as if to touch her, fingers elongated and twisted in grotesque angles. Sarah recoiled, pulling Lily closer. The fear that had settled into the pit of her stomach morphed into a defiant fire. No one would take her child. Get away from us, she yelled, her voice tremulous yet fierce, courage bubbling up amidst the terror. The figure halted, head tilting slightly, like a bird considering its next movement. Then it grinned, a disturbing twist of joy and malice that made Sarah's skin crawl. You think you have choices? You already accepted the invitation. It's time to play. Sarah's vision narrowed, heart pounding as she recalled her conversations with Jenna. Could Jenna be a part of this nightmarish plot? Or was she just another victim? The thoughts chased each other in her mind like a whirlpool, pulling her down further into despair. Mommy, please, Lily whimpered, tears streaking down her cheeks. Sarah's breath hitched. She couldn't break now. The global implications were damning, and the whispered half-truths from the envelope floated through her mind like dark smoke. They take people away suddenly. Another loud crash resonated from outside, a sound that sent shards of fear through her. The game had escalated. She glanced at the door still sturdy, but the pressure from beyond felt like a creeping fog. Do you want to know what they want? The figure leaned in, voice a chilling caress. All you have to do is ask the right question. Sacrifice one to save the other. No, Sarah cried, her heart racing. This was more than manipulation. This was an evil, designed to tear at the very fabric of her family. The door rattled violently, splinters beginning to crack along the frame. Time was running out. With anguish flaring in her chest, Sarah pressed down on Lily's shoulder. We need to hide. Now. She pulled her daughter towards the narrow space behind the couch just as the door shuddered and splintered. Sarah's instincts kicked in, pulling them into the sanctuary of shadows. Mommy, Lily whispered urgently, creeping closer as they huddled together, breath shallow and rapid. Stay quiet, Sarah murmured, the deepening fear wreaking havoc in her mind. Yet a glimmer of resolve shone through the cracks. This was a moment they had to survive. The figure advanced, looming over the wreckage of their home like a predator ready to pounce. Darkness draped everything around them, rendering even their breaths as silent as death. Come out wherever you are, the voice echoed through the chaos, singing a twisted melody. Heart racing, Sarah's thoughts spiraled. Survival was imperative, but at what cost? How could she protect Lily without sacrificing herself, or worse, allowing the figure to win this horrid game? As the tension thickened, the oppressive weight of the shadow slowly crept closer, an inevitable doom inching toward its prey. A sudden noise outside drew her focus. More footsteps, a crowd closing in. They were not alone. A new fear blossomed. Who else was out there? And what if the next visitor wasn't here to help? In a world where every choice could lead to catastrophe, every breath could be the last, Sarah found herself on the brink. How many would play before the end, the ultimate sacrifice? The door burst open in a thunderous crash. Would help come just in time, or would it lead to more horror? The sudden crash of the door sent a shockwave through Sarah's chest. She blinked hard, straining to see past the imposing figure before her. Only now it was overshadowed by newcomers. Bodies rushed in, faces blurred by shadows and fear. The room filled with chaos, footsteps pounding, voices intertwining in a feverish cacophony. Where are they? A voice barked, urgent and demanding. The figure at the center remained unervingly calm, its predatory grin spreading wider. Ah, the players have arrived. Welcome to the nightmare, it purred, a grotesque delight spilling from its lips. Get back, a man shouted, brandishing what looked like a flashlight. The beam cut through the darkness, revealing startled faces. But it wasn't just the faces of strangers. Sarah recognized some from her past. Jenna, eyes wide with terror, a man she'd once shared laughs with at the office, now trembling with disbelief. Sarah, Lily, Jenna's voice pierced through the chaos. We need to leave. Now. But Sarah couldn't move. They were trapped, caught in a terrible storm of choices, where every direction led to more danger. Lily clutched her mother's leg tighter, her small body shaking like a leaf in the wind. Panic clawed at Sarah's throat. What is happening? The figure glided closer to her, infectious delight creeping into its voice. They're players too. Every one of them. It gestured with long, wiry fingers at the others, an invitation laced with malice. But as you already know, not everyone will make it out. You must decide. Mommy! Lily screamed again, her innocent voice cutting through the thick fear like a blade. Stop it! Sarah shouted back, catching the figure SI. This isn't a game. The new arrivals stumbled back, exchanging uncertain glances, confusion morphing into dread. What is going on? One man whispered, glancing around wildly, eyes darting to the figure as if calculating the danger it posed. Someone explain. Jenna's face was pale, her breath coming in quick bursts. There's no time to waste. We have to find a way out of here. Right? Sarah gasped, struggling to pull her mind together. But how? She pulled Lily into her arms, feeling the weight of the world pressing down on her. What do we do? Sacrifice must be made. The figure crooned, its voice a sickly sweet song that twisted her gut. Choose one, let them take the fall or watch the rest perish. The words sank into the pit of Sarah's stomach like a stone. They were caught in a web of horror, a cruel game with stakes that twisted her heart. What do you mean? Do you not understand? Every choice holds a sacrifice. The figure laughed, a sound that chilled her bones. Choose the one who must remain behind, and the rest will escape. The air felt charged with an electric tension, silence wrapping around them like a tightening noose. Who among them would bear the weight of such a decision? Sarah's mind raced as she scanned the widening eyes of her friends. She dared not linger on the thought of losing any one of them. Guys, we've got to stick together. No one is getting left behind. Jenna's voice rose, cutting through the oppressive atmosphere. But even as she spoke, Sarah saw the flicker of doubt in Jenna's eyes. The figure laughed again, dark and haunting. So noble, but it is not your choice alone. The clock is ticking, the game is set now, who will you choose? The weight of the moment pressed heavily on Sarah's shoulders. Her heart thundered in her chest. The footsteps outside became deafening, louder. A stampede of fear that echoed her own heart. Now or never. A realization clawed at her from the edges of consciousness. There was something sinister at work here, beyond what she understood. Not just the figure, but the very presence of her friends. What if one of them was still entwined in the game, ready to betray them all? Mommy Lily's voice was soft, pulling Sarah back from the edge of despair. I won't let anyone go. I promise, Sarah told her, voice trembling. But in a world where sacrifices loomed large, could a promise hold? As the shadows closed in tighter, uncertainty gripped her heart like iron chains. Seconds felt like hours, and when the figure grinned wider, she knew time was running out. The door splintered again from angry knocks, a new terror looming outside. How many more sacrifices would she be forced to make before dawn? And would she find the truth before it was too late? The blinding beam from the flashlight flared brightly, illuminating the figure at the center. It was almost captivating, but Sarah felt it stab at her senses like ice-cold needles. The laughter echoed, thin and sharp, curling around them like smoke. She locked eyes with Jenna, and the shared look held a conversation they dared not vocalize. The specter of betrayal loomed heavy between them, a dark shadow threading through their panic. Anyone could be hiding something, Jenna whispered harshly, bracing herself against the wall, her breath hitching as the sound of pounding fists intensified. If we're going to survive this, we need to know who we can trust. A shudder went through the small crowd, each person stepping backward, as if retreating deeper into their own murky doubts. The tension was suffocating, palpable. Sarah's heart felt like an engine going into overdrive. Just moments before, they'd been ordinary people, but now they were reluctant players in a twisted game where rules were written in blood. Do we have to trust each other? A voice broke through the commotion. It was the man who had shouted first, his eyes darting nervously. What if one of us is a ringer? What if he faltered, collecting himself? What if the figure is right? No! Sarah shot back, her pulse quickening. We have to stick together. We can't turn on one another. But doubt flickered like lightning among them. A soft whimper from Lily reminded Sarah of her core, igniting her resolve. We will find a way, I swear. Will we? The figure stepped closer again, exuding an air of command. You say you will not betray, yet your hearts betray you even now. Fight against your instincts and what will be left, The pressure in the room pushed against her, and suddenly, Sarah felt a change. Shadows pooled in the corners, warping their faces into masks of terror. She could feel the slipping sands of time, the sinking dread as they neared the inevitable choice. Every second ticked louder, thundering toward a conclusion they couldn't quite grasp. Maybe we each say something about our past? Jenna proposed, her voice shaky but determined. Something to break the silence. Something we never told anyone. Great idea, the flashlight-wielding man replied, appearing desperate for control. A little honesty might know. The figure's voice rang out, deep and booming, cutting through their fragmented thoughts. Honesty only leads to more anguish here. Speak of love or fear, and it only bolsters your downfall. Panic welled anew, and Sarah felt the walls closing in. What do you want from us? She cried, desperation leaking into her tone. Simple. The figure grinned wider, revealing jagged, pearl-white teeth. Watch as your world unravels like fine thread. You've already chosen your sacrifices. It simply starts with what lies underneath. Together, you will reveal the truth of the heart, a precious secret. Once shared, will never return whole. The air thickened around them, pressing down until it was hard to breathe. Each face was bathed in the harsh light, their expressions wrought with fear and suspicion. As they stood in the dim glow, the figure's words festered, brewing in the depths of their minds. Sarah felt the whispers of betrayal coil around each person in the group. Who among them had dark secrets? Who would choose to save themselves over their friends? Behind her, the pounding hand on the door had turned into a relentless battering ram, the wood splintering under each blow. The scream of panic began to rise again. It hovered in the air, waiting, ready to detonate. Time is up, the figure taunted, its voice hissing like smoke. Choose now, or they shall simply rip the choice from you. Before Sarah could respond, a distinct crack echoed in the room. Shadows shifted with urgency. Was there an escape, or had they already lost the chance for salvation amongst their own? In a heartbeat, everything hung in the balance. And when the door finally gave way, revealing what waited beyond, the true nightmare began. The door burst open with a deafening crash, splintering the fragile air around them. A wave of icy wind swept in, carrying the scent of damp earth and something far more sinister like decay. The threshold revealed a long, shadowy passage that stretched into the darkness, beckoning in muted shades of despair. In the doorway a figure loomed. It was tall and angular, its features obscured by shadows. The flashlight beam caught a glimpse of a pallid face, eyes glinting like polished stones, reflecting the desperation that clung to Sarah and her group. Step outside, if you dare, it called, voice like gravel scraping down a corridor. Welcome to the next stage of your torment. No one moved. Panic swirled, thick and suffocating. They were all still frozen in place, caught in a web spun from dread and suspicion. Each heartbeat thundered against the silence, a tribal drum announcing their impending doom. The figure in the doorway stepped forward, feet padding softly against the ground, a predator inching closer to trapped prey. First, you must choose a path, it hissed, eyes narrowing to slits. This place, these walls, are infused with your secrets. Step across this threshold, and you'll reveal that which you've kept hidden. What will it be? The corridors of truth or the ballads of denial? Questions ricocheted in their minds like bullets. Would stepping into that passage lead to salvation or more despair? Fear made it hard to breathe, and answers danced just out of reach. Jenna clutched Sarah's arm, her grasp a lifeline threaded with tension. We can't just stand here, Sarah gasped, her voice trembling. We have to decide. But fear paralyzed them, leaving them trapped in a cycle of doubt. Would they remain locked in the very fears that haunted them, or could they conquer them by walking into the abyss? It's a trick, someone muttered, voice shaking. It has to be. We can't trust it. Maybe it's our only way out. Sarah pressed, desperation creeping in. With their eyes collectively drawn to the figure, its grin widening. Revealing a mouth full of jagged teeth, the walls felt as if they were closing in. The pounding on the door resumed its fevered chorus, angry fists demanding entrance, pressing against their resolve. The air crackled. An oppressive force hung heavy, as though the shadows were alive, swirling like dark currents. Sarah scanned the faces around her, each one reflecting the flicker of betrayal, of fear. Trust was a fragile rope, frayed at the ends, ready to snap at the slightest pull. As the silence stretched, the figure leaned closer, lowering its voice to a conspiratorial whisper. Choose one of your own to walk first. Let the secrets unfold like petals from a dying flower. Who will bear the weight of the truth? The challenge rang in the air, and dread pooled in the pit of Sarah's stomach. Her heart raced as glances bounced like tennis balls among the group, each person weighing their darkest secrets against the strange pull of the corridor. I don't want to go first, Lily whimpered, looking like a deer caught in headlights. Why should any of us? Someone else shot back, panic lighting their features. The figure laughed, then deep, echoing laughter that seemed to coil around them like a snake about to strike. To move forward, one must have courage, or else risk being consumed by their own darkness. Sarah felt the flicker of resolve battling against the weight of despair. Was it bravery or foolishness that would lead one of them into the unknown? Had they any choice left at all? With a resolute gulp, she stepped forward, spitefully facing the figure and the malevolence it promised. I'll reveal my secret first, she declared, voice shaking yet firm. But just as she prepared to take that fateful step, the pounding at the door transformed, now accompanied by horrid voices. Let us in. Let us help you. The clamoring grew urgent, desperate, as shadows crawled closer, encroaching upon her. Tension zigzagged through the group. In a world swirling with treachery, trust did not exist. It was slowly being eroded away. What awaited them? Down that shadowy passage? Would secrets thrive or wither in the light of exposure? As Sarah stood there, the figure grinning with anticipation, one question echoed louder than the rest. Were they truly ready to face the horrors lurking within their own hearts? Sarah's heart raced like it was trying to escape her chest. Panic prickled at her skin, sending icy tendrils creeping up her spine. A cold sweat dampened her palms as she struggled to process the fear weaving through the group. Suddenly, the figure in the doorway leaned closer, the shadowed features becoming more pronounced. You think your secrets are burdens? They are your shackles. They bind you to despair. But in the corridors you can set your truths free, or die trying. What do you want from us? Jenna shouted, trembling. Her voice cracked, betraying her terror. This can't be real. Oh, it's as real as your misplaced trust, the figure taunted, taking another step forward. The light flickered, casting long, twisting shadows that danced menacingly on the walls. Choose wisely, or let the darkness consume you. With each passing second, Sarah felt the weight of desperation settle deeper. Every second was a choice, a chance slipping through their fingers. The sound of pounding fists against the door was maddening, morphing into a cacophony of whispers that clawed at her mind. Let us in. You can't fight this alone. Sarah, don't just stand there. Lily cried, her wide eyes filled with terror. Please, we need to get out. But how? The figure's laughter echoed in her mind, mingling with the angry screams at the door. There was no way out uninfluenced by the darkness that surrounded them. You will either face your fate or remain here, wraiths of your former selves. Each word was like ice water splashed on Sarah's determination. Who would go first? She felt the eyes of her friends boring into her, waiting for a leader to emerge, yet she felt anything but brave. Let Lily go, someone blurted, desperation woven into their plea. No, not me, Lily gasped, backing away, fear etched in her expression. With each second that ticked by, the figure's smile widened, jagged teeth glistening in the fading light. Just one step and the truth will unfurl like smoke in the wind. Fine. I'll do it, Sarah exclaimed, but her voice faltered. I'll go. Even as the words tumbled out, she felt the gravity of her decision weighing down upon her. Trying to shield yourself with sacrifice? Adorable, the figure sneered, but Sarah noticed an edge of uncertainty in its tone. A flicker of doubt? Maybe there was power in facing the truth. Just give us a moment, she shouted, desperately reaching for her friends. They huddled closer, swirling confusion and regret mixing in the air. But we need to agree, support each other through this. As she took a step forward, the darkness deepened, swallowing the light from the flashlight. The corridor gaped like a mouth ready to devour her whole. She couldn't look back now. There was no backing down. Once in, the choice is irreversible, the figure warned, its voice slinking into her ears like smoke. Will you embrace the truth? But what truth awaited in that shadowy maw? The pounding at the door roared louder now, desperation wailing. Don't leave us. We're not safe. They're coming. Don't trust it. A scream echoed from somewhere deep within as time distorted, stretching every heartbeat into a tormenting echo. Just as she felt herself drawn to the abyss, the door shattered, bursting open once more. An icy blast of wind and darkness erupted, swirling around them like a vortex. Shadows flooded in, shapes twisting and morphing, stealing their voices, their breaths. In that moment, chaos unfolded. The figure grinned, pointing into the fray. Step into your secrets, or be consumed by the shadows, it beckoned. Sarah froze, caught between the swirling darkness and her friends, trapped in fear and chaos. What horrors would the corridor reveal? Sarah, let us go, Jenna screamed, grabbing her arm, but shadows wrapped tightly around them, threatening to pull them under. Everything could change in an instant, but one burning question pierced through the noise. Would they emerge united or splintered by their own truths? The shadows rippled violently, pulling Sarah deeper into their maw as Jenna's grip tightened. She felt like she was being teetered on a precipice, where one wrong move could send her plummeting into an abyss of despair. Hold on to me, Jenna shouted, her voice barely breaking through the sensory assault of whispers and screams. Don't let go. Only seconds earlier, they had huddled together, the warm glow of the flashlight their last tether to reality. Now that light was reduced to a flicker, barely cutting through the consuming darkness that clawed at their legs. Sarah glanced back, her heart racing, seeing the panic on her friends' faces mirrored in the swirling shadows. A guttural growl emerged from the shadows, resonating with the chaos. It wasn't just shapeless dark. Something loomed there, something alive. It hungered. Please, just get us out of here, Lily cried, terror saturating her voice. We can't trust it. But Sarah had already felt the dark allure of the corridor. An urgency gnawed at her insides. What if this was the way to confront what they had all been hiding? The secrets they buried threatened to drown them. Jenna, Sarah shouted, pulling away from her friend's grip. I need to know the truth. Don't. Jenna pleaded, her eyes wide with fear. You don't know what's in there. Yet as the shadows surged closer, Sarah felt a strange determination boiling inside her. A kind of rebellion against the fear. It's the only way. I want let us be swallowed whole. The specter in the doorway continued to watch, the corners of its mouth curling in a sinister grin. Your bravery or foolishness. Now step forth and face what binds you. With a breath that hollowed her chest, Sarah took a hesitant step into the corridor's gaping darkness. The sound of her friends' cries faded, dulled by the suffocating air that wrapped around her like a cold embrace. Each step felt like walking on glass mirrors fragile, reflecting moments, secrets, hidden lies. In that vast, unending darkness, echoes of her past whirled around her, whispers of betrayal and regret. Memories surged like a tide, crashing into her consciousness. Her eyes darted back, searching for the light, for her friends. But all she found was an expanse that stretched infinitely, drowning her in isolation. Face the truth, the figure rasped, its voice oozing mockery. What lurks within shall be revealed. Suddenly, the air thickened, then a vision swept over her, a scene from a year ago, a chilling reminder of a party gone wrong. Laughter drowned by confrontations, faces twisted in anger, accusations flung like daggers. The moment she had tried to hide from instead enveloped her now. "Sarah, you should have told us." A familiar voice echoed, shattering her concentration. It was Jenna, but distorted, tainted by grief. The memory warped, and she saw Jenna crying, slumped against a wall, betrayal carved into her features. You knew all along." "No," Sarah cried, her voice swallowed by the dark. "It wasn't he like that," but the shadows twisted deeper, wrapping around her like chains, pulling her down. Panic surged. No, she wouldn't let this truth destroy her. In that moment, a light flickered, a true beam of hope that penetrated the darkness, illuminating a path forward. But it wasn't just the light. It was her friends battling their own shadows. They fought through the night, pushed against their darker selves. "Sarah, we're here." Lily's voice broke through, filled with defiance. "We won't let you go." The moment ignited a spark in Sarah that sent adrenaline rushing through her veins. She had to fight back. It was time to confront not just her fears, but the truth that bound all of them. As Sarah reached out for the broken memories, a vicious scream erupted, slicing through the darkness. Shadows buckled, recoiling from the force of their unity. "We are not bound by our secrets," they cried together, fueled by a power that surged within them. But would that power be enough to break free? And just like that, the shadows writhed, coiling tighter, as new terrors lurked nearby, lurking with malevolent intentions. The corridor pulsed, hungry, wanting more than just truths it craved their souls. "Do you think you can escape the truth?" the figure hissed, slowly fading into the darkness. Sarah's heart thundered as the darkness pulsed, releasing new horrors. What more awaited them as they stumbled, unraveling each strand of fear together? Would they emerge whole or succumb to the very dark that threatened to consume them? The question hung in the air, heavy with dread, as the corridor's sinister depths whispered promises of shattered trust and greater horrors yet to be revealed. The darkness swirled, the shadows pulsing like a living entity around Sarah and the others. Their united voices bounced off the walls, creating an anthem of defiance that began to drown out the whispers of doubt. Yet, the ominous figure, with its ghastly grin, loomed ever closer, taunting them, its laughter slicing through the air. "You think unity can save you?" it hissed, its eyes glinting like stars ablaze with malice. "You are nothing but a collection of secrets, and secrets breed fear. Fear is what drives you, what will tear you apart." But Sarah felt something shift within her, a power growing stronger with every heartbeat. Fueled by the fierce love for her daughter and the flicker of hope ignited by Jenna and her friends, she drew from the energy that wrapped around her like a shield. "We are not just secrets," she yelled, her voice rising above the din. "We are friends. We are family." With each word, the light within her rose to meet the threatening shadows. The bonds they shared became a bright, radiant force, illuminating the corridor with a blinding brilliance. Shadows writhed in panic, retreating from the surge of energy, flickering like fading embers. "Join us." Lily's voice rang clear, innocent yet strong. "Together we're more than our fears." As if spurred by her youthful bravery, Sarah reached for the shadows ahead, grasping not just for herself, but for Jenna, for all of them. "Face your truth. All of us together. No more lies." Thrumming pulses of light surged with every declaration, every vow of loyalty. The darkness recoiled like a battered beast. The shadowy corridor felt smaller, suffocating under their collective strength. They were creating a new reality, one where love and connection eclipsed fear. "What have you done?" the figure hissed, its voice shaking, the grin faltering. "Believe us," Jenna shouted, tears shimmering in her eyes. "We care about each other. This isn't just a game to us." The darkness shrieked, clawing at the walls as if trying to escape their grasp. New voices emerged from the shadows, echoes of countless regrets and fears, all wanting to pull them under. But Sarah and her friends used their voices, marshaling the memories into tangible shapes of hope. The air sparkled as they declared their love, their support, their unwavering commitment to one another. With one final push, As if they were sprinting towards the light at the end of a tunnel, they surged forward. Together, they stepped deeper into the shadows, braving the unknown with their spirits entwined in unity. The figuresque grin melted into a snarl, overwhelmed by their collective strength. No, it screeched, as the light felt as though it were ripping through the very fabric of the corridor. The dark barriers crumbled, dissipating like smoke in the wind. Suddenly, everything shifted. The dark morass unraveled, revealing the familiar streets of Maplewood, now washed in the warm glow of dawn. The sun emerged, casting vibrant colors across the landscape. They were back in the world they knew, free from the confines of the darkness that had sought to consume them. Yet the figure remained, towering on the fringes of their realization, its laughter echoing like a siren call. "You think you've won?" It crooned, its voice distant but still heavy in the air. But darkness always finds a way. Sarah felt a chill at the threat, but a smile broke through the remnants of fear. "We face it together," she declared, squeezing Lilia's hand tightly. "No matter what comes next." The warmth of the sunshine enveloped them, but even as they stepped away from the shadows, the bond they cultivated in the dark weaved through their hearts like an unbreakable thread. They knew some secrets would linger, but the power of their unity shone like a beacon, promising they'd face every challenge ahead side by side. As they exited the corridor together, laughter burst forth, joyful and liberating. It echoed through Maplewood, signaling a new beginning. While shadows could linger at the fringes, they felt ready to confront whatever came next. Together, they could weather any storm. With their hearts full, they returned to lives stitched together by love, trust, and newfound resolve. They would not walk alone. As the screen fades to black, an urgent truth resonates. You need to subscribe now to catch exclusive stories that challenge the shadows of your soul. Smash that like button for support that fuels this community. Flood the comments with your reactions and theories. Let's unravel the mysteries together. And for the real fans, don't wait even one more second. Instantly share this video with at least 5 friends who deserve to hear this powerful conclusion. In unity, we are stronger. Join us on this journey.